It's been a very long time since I've updated anything on this car. I haven't made a single video in it's probably been like 2 months now. So here it is. It's almost done. And I'll show you what it looks like in a second. Put a lot of work in, probably about 3 or 4 hours every single day. And I think it's gotten done in good time.
Check this out, son.
So here it is. This is the almost finished product. See, it looks a lot cleaner, a lot more put together than last time. So I might as well go over everything I've done in this build. There's a pretty long list, but there's a lot in here, a lot of work done, a lot of it's hidden, just used to make it work. So I'm gonna start at this corner over here and work my way that way. So this is a new wrap on the headlight. I got some 3M from Amazon. Really nice, matte or satin finish on it, and it really gives that nice new edge to the headlights. So I did that to both of them. G-Tech, I could see it glowing. But I repainted it this same paint as the rest of the bay, so it matched right in. This needs to be modified still. I just got to cut this so I can actually open the hood latch. Radiator's back in. In one of the last videos when I was building the engine, I guess, I put in a Mishimoto thermostat. Radiator will be changed eventually, just not right now. It's only got 50,000 miles on it. So that will be changed. This pipe, I pretty much had to just measure, go to the store, get it. This is the ISR coolant temperature port. For some reason it's got 2 and they don't give you a block off for it. So this is my temporary cap so nothing falls in. Okay, and then the Mishimoto carbon catch can that I've had for a while. Finally in there, except I need fittings because the hoses are a lot bigger. So this is like a 6 AN fitting and these are 10 AN hoses. So I need to get some kind of adapter. We have the actual carbon fiber intake piece right here, and that is it's like a universal fit. It's not exactly for this car, so it comes with this coupler, comes with a couple clamps. I cut this here because it had 2 separate holes before, and you see all the bigger builds and they all cut that piece of the pan out anywhere. So I did put some stickers on this. I was going to cover the whole thing. The real guys will know what that is right there. Turbo's all set up, all the oil lines. So we have the feed in, what is a 6, and then we go down to there, and then this right here is the drain, and that's a 10. We have the external head drain over here. After that, I got the wastegate set up, and yep, turbo's in, perfectly in place now. We got all the vacuum lines set up for the boost controller, so we can actually actuate the wastegate here. So there are a couple different ways to set this up, and I didn't know. I had to do a lot of research. You could just have, one drain, or not drain, sorry, 1 airport or 2 airports. So there's 3 ports for air around around here. You can either bring this to atmospheric, or you can bring it to the boost controller. And the way that works is the boost controller would normally just, actuate the air in or out of here and leave this atmospheric, meaning this pushes or pulls one way, and this doesn't have a force on it too. But if you have 2 forces pulling and pushing, then you have more control over it, and I guess you can double the amount of wastegate pressure by the spring. So I have a 11 or 12 pound in there right now, just on spring. I'm looking to get to 18, so this would be more ideal to actuate, I guess. This big open space right here, we'll get to that in a minute. I gotta drill in and put some Put some sheet metal screws in the wall there. Fuel rail is all set. I might have put that in the last video. So this is going to the Tomei fuel pressure regulator over here. Nice braided setup. I like that. And I got another one in the back there going to that filter. So it's feed from the tank to the filter to this, and the fuel pressure regulator regulates how much goes back to the tank, not comes out, so that you constantly have fuel flow through your rail there. This goes to the same place where you could put any boost line, and along with all those other blue vacuum hoses that I got. This has taken a long time to set up. So this, I actually made a custom bracket that I don't think I put in a video, but this is 100% hand bent, hand shaped, and everything to perfectly accommodate the oil relocation kit. I wanted to make sure that the oil pressure or temperature sensor was going to have enough room to move around. So that's all set. So these two go to a cooler, and these two go to the block. So I was just doing that recently, about an hour or two ago, and it's so annoying to have to tighten those things down there, and I can't even find them with the camera, they're so buried. It's like way over there. You have another sensor on it, and then those two lines go all the way down to it. So I had to have my whole body basically right between the wall and the manifold here. And then I made this out of just some steel from Home Depot. I think it came out pretty good. I was gonna put like a little more paint on it and maybe some Bondo to make it straight, but I'm not really too picky about it. Welded a little knob on the end here to be able to bolt it into that hole, but basically I'm just using it to cover up the fuse box because it looked absolutely terrible. I'm not gonna rewire that whole thing. I did rewire the headlights though. So yeah, when I got the car, all the headlight wiring was just like dangled above here and like wrapped around the rod. This rod to hold the hood up. And yeah, it looked like absolute shit, and that headlight was going out. So I rewired those. We now have a coolant overflow tank. So comes down to here, goes down to the bottom, all set. So got a Greddy and a Nismo sock there, right behind the new boost brake booster line. So I feel like I owe it to Greddy to being one of the best companies out there for at least Japanese cars. I got the Greddy belt, Greddy sock. This is actually a Greddy front bumper, which started all of this Greddy mess of stuff. It's a Greddy body kit. So I have a Greddy oil filter over there. I'm gonna stick on here. It's the same blue as everything else by coincidence, which is amazing. So it's gonna have the nice blue and silver and black accents everywhere. That yellow tape's gonna be gone. That yellow thing's gonna be gone here. MAF sensor's not going back on because I guess inlet air temp and a MAP sensor. I have the MAP sensor over here. I'm going to be positioning them. So I think I'm going to put the IAT here. It's closest to the manifold. And then the MAP sensor's got to be put in some kind of port in the manifold. So I'm thinking of using, I may have an open line right here where this goes. These are all, there's like 4 stations for lines right here. But everything's got to be basically tidied up. I had to lengthen the throttle position sensor wires, so I spliced in a few, and now it reaches all the way up here, because before the throttle body was sitting right where this dent is, and apparently this is OEM, which is annoying. Throttle body was sitting there, so that wire had to go here, so it had to be extended by that much. So if you're thinking of doing one of these, you're gonna need to do that. Right at the back of the turbo and above the wastegate, I've been working on this here, and this is almost done. So I had to grab the camera before I finished this because honestly I'm very proud of this. This is one of the nicest welding jobs I've done. I'm gonna try not to scratch this thing up anymore because I'm gonna be painting it with exhaust paint. But this is the full downpipe with the accommodation for the wastegate port. So V-banded, 4-bolt, we got a flex pipe, and we got a 3-bolt flange. So all of this took a lot of fitment. It started with this, downpipe down, and then I just welded that on, knew it had to go there anyway. And then after that, I put the wastegate on. And I just thought I'd like curve this up a bit. I kind of want to make it like more streamlined. Maybe I should have kept the welds because now this one's showing, but we'll see. This is the last 2 welds that I need for the exhaust, if not the entire car. So this is a milestone today. Here's the exhaust piece that I had just welded. And it's all put together, fits perfectly. You just kind of touch the flange down there and it lines right up. And this is ceramic coating, the VHT high proof temperature, whatever you want to call it, the exhaust paint. It's got ceramic in it. So that's all set, and wastegate's done. Whole thing's hooked up to the boost controller where it's got to be. This is for the wideband, and I'm going to put that below even this piece. They want you to put it at least 36 inches away from you know, your heat source, so the turbo. 36 inches away by turbo. That's going down to that next pipe down there, so that'll go on later. But I've come across a big issue here, and that is I had to take the manifold all the way off. So I guess this might be a good thing. I can neaten it up a little bit easier down there, but the manifold has an issue with the fittings. This fitting is very close to the thread size of the map sensor that I just got. So what I was going to do was take this out and put the map sensor in. Well, the issue is it snapped off right in there, and this is actually after me drilling it out a bunch, and I'm almost there. I'm just going to retap it to the size of the map sensor. This one also broke off, and I managed to get the last of the threads out. I don't think it wasn't much of a break. Luckily, I think most of the material's still on here, but looking in there, looks like I got majority of that material out of the threads. I just used a pick and picked it out because it's aluminum. This is the lightest material aluminum I think I've ever felt. So this is like a toy. You should not put this on an engine. If you get this ISR manifold and they still come with these shitty fittings, please get different fittings. That's my dilemma right now, and should be moving forward shortly. Another challenge of this build was these 2 lines go right up to where the reservoir sits. So they went all the way over there and through everything, and then went up to the high-cast, you know, distribution box, I guess. And then it would go to the steering rack after, and it was leaking everywhere. The car's still wet from it. You can see all the wet spots. So instead of going through the high-cast box, I took these flexible hydraulic tubes here. I you know, cut the tubes, flared them so these wouldn't jump off of there, but I put them all the way through here, made sure they weren't going to touch any moving parts, right? And then what I ended up doing was I put in this nice little power steering cooler in the front. So the nice part about that power steering cooler, don't mind all the paint chips, I really can't wait to touch them up. That power steering cooler fits perfectly in there. It's got like a 1/2 inch difference besides that vent, but this is like the ideal setup for power steering. So that's pretty cool. So I was gonna go with Haltech originally, and then yeah, I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna go with something different. And I found this as I was looking at the Haltech, about to buy it. And I was like, wait, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna finish with the rest of the stuff on the car first, and then I'm gonna come back to the ECU. So I just picked this up. Yeah, this thing is actually really great looking. So when you think of a computer for a car, you think of something big. I have small hands, by the way. I'm gonna be honest. This thing is absolutely like the tiniest shit I've ever seen. This is the size of my graphics card on my computer. Actually, probably smaller. And this can do anti-lag and, you know, all that crazy two-step stuff and learning, and it's got map and it's got everything on it. So really excited to set that up, and I was getting the software going last night trying to figure it out. So I guess there's some things to do. I just got to order the wiring harness that goes from these connectors to the RB harness. So it's a couple $100. It's actually pretty cheap. But for what this thing does and how small it is, this is the best thing I could have possibly gotten for an ECU.